Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this. My mama said there'd be days like those days. Days when you lay in bed and do everything in your power not to flinch because you know that even the act of exhaling will remind you of the ways he could only sleep with his mouth open. As you laid envisioning tiny ballerinas on point in perfection in his lungs, teaching each mini molecule of carbon dioxide how to gracefully plie off the tip of his tongue and take flight. One of those days, caused by the ultimate calamity of recognizing that he or she was not the one, but close enough to be the one that it took a good 6 months for everything about them to annoy you, like the way they'd spend $1,000 on a suit but still ask you to split the bill for dinner, or the way that their mouth smelt even after they brushed their teeth, or the way that they always kiss with just a bit too much tongue. But also one of those people. One of those people that made you tell the cheesiest stories, use the cheesiest nicknames, make the cheesiest faces as you'd climb towards them like Indiana Jones searching for that perfect indentation hiding right below their clavicle. The one you felt like God chiseled out solely to cradle the side of your face as their heartbeat seduced you to sleep. My mama said there'd be days when men would hurt me. My daddy advised me to become a lesbian instead. Everyone said there would be days after he'd leave when I'd feel like my heart had been captured in the night, shoved in a jail bag, and told that if it made just one beat, it would be toast. Days when I'd wake feeling changed, realizing that that deep metronome beat just wasn't ticking anymore. Days when I'd spend my paycheck at Kinko's photocopying black and white flyers to tack to ancient telephone poles that would read, "Have you seen this heart? I've got only a few dusty paintings and a 2-string guitar, but if you bring it back, everything I have is yours to keep." My mama said there'd be days like those, but she didn't say there'd be days like today. She didn't say there'd be days like today when you left and I felt relieved, when you called and said you couldn't be with me and I said I thought it was for the better, when you handed me my heart back. I held it happily in my hands, bumpless, bruiseless, beating perfectly in time. Mama didn't say there'd be days like today, so I'm telling you. There will be days that they will leave you and you will be the happier for it because you deserve someone who lets you know Christmas 365 days of the year because their face lights up like the first time they saw Santa each time you walk into a room. You deserve someone that will be proud. So proud that they'll scream your name out of the 25th story window of the tallest tower in their town, not to claim or mark you as their territory, but to let God know they found you. An angel with a broken wing mingling among mere mortals. Even though there's days that I know what I deserve, Mama didn't say there'd be days when I feel my heartbeat steadily unaccompanied and I would be a kick drum solo percussionist auditioning backup musicians to complement my rhythm. Days when I'm let him go with grace, without needing to find another human being to fill the space. Nights when I'd crawl into bed, relieved, not needing to curl up tight enough to fit into the big spoon, stretch my arms out like their wings, take up my rightful place, and fall asleep saying, "Mama, no matter what kind of day tomorrow brings, I'm ready." I used to pray. I used to do a lot of things before words started failing me, before me and the words that these lips speak just didn't fit together like the puzzle pieces they used to be. Because there comes a point in everyone's lives when they realize that words can't do justice to the frustrations in this world that we're part of. I used to pray. But lately, I don't try to talk much to God, because everywhere I look, I see we're all just throwing our words to the skies, to that place that we look to for direction, hoping that some manifestation of all that is good will receive them. When really, all our prayers just get stuck between here and the end of it all, studying the night sky with our dear gods and please lords, our make it start and make it stop, all our 11th hour appeals, all our voices in a gospel choir lighting up the switchboard sky. But when was the last time that God knelt next to his bed and said, "Dear Kyra, if you're listening, know that everything's going to be okay"? So maybe it's not my words that have been failing me. Maybe I've been speaking with just the right rhythm and rhetoric, but maybe God has drifted too far away to hear us anymore, like an old married couple who used to sleep tangled up in each other and now sleep straddling opposite edges of the bed. Maybe God just needs a little space and a good night's sleep. I used to think that maybe God had become hard of hearing. After years of having prayers bang like bass beats off his eardrum, maybe God just needs a hearing aid. So I started turning my face to the skies and scrunching up my nose like I do when I'm mad, hoping that God will read my furrowed brow, know that I need a little help carrying the heaviness of this heart. When that didn't work, I took up sign language. Found myself frequenting treetops, sending him messages spoken through strokes of these fingers and bends in these broken knuckles, but alas, these hands have always been best for mending hearts, and all these hands were ever taught to sign as "I hate cops." It is rumored that when Van Gogh cut off his ear, he put it in a letter and gave it to the prostitute he loved, asking her to take care of it for him. On days when the world gets to be too much, when all I can see when I walk down the street is the pain that is present in every person I pass, I wonder if while I wasn't looking, God slipped me his ear in a letter. Maybe that's why words have been failing me lately. Maybe I traded God my tongue for the chance to know pain other than my own, because I just heard that panhandler ask forgiveness in his exhale, and I could have sworn that those cuts on her arms keep forming constellations. But no matter how many times she traces them, she can't find the North Star to point her home yet. I get the feeling that their God hasn't been hearing them lately either. But I'm beginning to think that if I have God's ear, and if these hands are better at cradling, comforting, and CPR than signing, then maybe what I need to do is echolocate your pain with the rhythm of my own. And when I find it, I will separate these prompts from their prayer and offer them to you. Bear this chest for embrace and let this heartbeat send Morse code messages to those whose hearts have been waiting all this time for a return call from God. I used to pray. I used to do a lot of things before words started failing me, but now I have come to realize when words fail you, there are other ways to speak, and when life fails you, there are other ways to live, and when God fails you, check your pocket for his ear. Trade in your tongue so that you may hear all of the unheard messages studying the sky and help him start answering our prayers.